Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RickCast, episode 162. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. It is a beautiful Tuesday, the 5th of August, 2025, and we have a show for you tonight. So we have the continuing, I don't want to be super dramatic, like the backstabbing of MAGA. I know that's a little much. Um, but it still seems like Trump is not being he's fulfilling the campaign promises that he wanted. Now you can't talk about deportations and getting rid of illegal immigrants and at the same time back farmers and undocumented workers. So not a great call on his part. After a strong start, the 6 months, right at the 6 month mark, everything seemed to kind of go belly up, if you will. And we're still seeing the effects of this thing going belly up. So we'll talk about that. I don't know how to say it. I'm going to call it the Chikungunya virus. Chikungunya virus. There's a new virus in China. It's spread by mosquitoes. People are already starting to ring the bell on the COVID stuff, and oh, it's another virus out of uh, out of China. It's going to be COVID. Oh, we're going to be locked down on all over the place again. That's terrible. It's over, man. It's not over. Everybody relax. Um, I wouldn't be too, especially in a midterm year. Maybe if the Democrats are going to get as smoked as they claim that they're going to, possibly, but at the same time, I wouldn't be too crazy about. We'll talk about it. We will actually talk about it, and but I'm not gonna focus or fear manipulate too much right now because it's just whatever it is. China, China, it's another voyage, another, it's another stupid virus. Waffle House crew check in. So we'll talk about that. I'm not, I mean, Trump would blow his own foot off if he fell pressure to it. So we'll see how it goes. And it seems like in China, every couple of years, they just seem to have some kind of new virus of unknown or specified virus of unknown origin pop up for people to deal with. So it's kind of one of these things. And then finally, I guess I have to give a mea culpa in regards to Sydney Sweeney because she hasn't apologized yet. And if she was going to, now, of course, the rule of Rick Barrett states that if I say something like this definitively, she'll probably turn around and drop an apology tomorrow morning. So don't get your hopes up yet. But the fact of the matter is, if she was going to issue an apology, it would have been after Trump, you know, gave her the thumbs up. She hasn't said anything. And there's a poll that's come out that says that a lot of people don't find her campaign offensive, despite the loud minority on X and on social media and all of the other kinds of things that went on there. So it is what it is in that regard. And we will see going forward what is happening. Oof, excuse me. So that is tonight's show. I also got got an update on what's going on here in Texas as far as the House and the rogue Democrats that have left. Greg Abbott has made another point, and so is Ken Paxton. So there is movement on there. And up, remember the Titan submersible that wanted to be like James Cameron and dive down to the Titanic? Well, now there's a report out on said uh submersible, and yeah, it's about as shocking as you would think it is. And then finally, we have an update from Lionsgate on the resurrection of the Christ from Mel Gibson. It's coming out in 2027, 2 years from now. Very interesting, though. I think you're gonna be very interested to see what is associated with this film. I don't want to drop it away yet, but it didn't take me by surprise, but I went, oh, that is interesting. So we will take a look at all of these things. I don't know who Max Headroom is, but I will take it as a compliment. I don't know, maybe not, but all right. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, while you're hanging out with me, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, do all the fun things, makes the show grow. It's great. And we will get to tonight's show. So let's get right to it. What's going on in Texas? There was a big deal. The speaker banged the gavel. He said, "Oh, yeah, gotta be here." Yada yada. We talked about how Republicans like to make big deal out of things and then come up empty. Is that still the case? Is that going to be the case here? Let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen. So, oh wow, this is real. All right, chat for this. You guys are gonna have to go. Bye. I don't like how this sets up though. I wish there was a way to make this like smaller. Is there a way to make it smaller? I know I shouldn't be doing this. Oh, I can't make it smaller. Look at this. That's dope. I'm sorry. I'm learning on the fly. So, ladies and gentlemen, from Ground News, Governor Abbott orders arrest of absent Texas House Democrats. Okay. I mean, that's something we kind of said may or may not happen tomorrow. But to see like we actually have this, let's take a look. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced on Monday he will try to remove Democratic lawmakers who left the state to block voting on Trump-backed congressional map. I mean, it's Trump-backed because they reorganized these seats according to the 2024 election, and the seats that are there, Trump won. So that's why they're going to tell you, oh, it's a Trump-backed map, even though that's silly and just foolish. This action follows dozens of Democrats fleeing Sunday like little rats to Illinois and New York to deny the quorum ahead of Monday's House vote on maps aiming to add 5 GOP-leaning Texas seats, much like Democrats have manipulated every map they could to give themselves advantage. This is what the party in power does. And the way that the news is covering it is just, it doesn't surprise me. Texas' 150-member House requires 2/3 present to conduct business, but at least 51 Democrats holding 62 seats have left the state, preventing votes and delaying disaster aid after recent catastrophic floods. Abbott referenced a 2021 legal opinion from Republican Attorney General Greg Paxton, which is why your Attorney General is a seat you must win. You must have the best conservative Attorney General you can in your state, because this is when things like this happens. They're definitely going to come and help you out. Though not legally binding, to assert that Democrats had lost their legislative seats and might have committed felonies, while Democrats dismiss his claim as baseless. Oh, of course. What are they going to agree with him? The dispute escalated nationally, with New York Governor Hateful Kate supporting the Texas Democrats, and fat Democratic Governor J.B. I can't believe he hasn't had a heart attack, Pritzler, considering retaliatory map redrawing. You're acting like the Democrats have never redistrict people out of their seats, and this idea that, oh well, the Democrats are considering they're gonna do something too. What do you mean? What? Of course they're gonna do something. They always do something. That's what they do. Something. Do something, like from Spaceballs. Do something. So it's just absolutely crazy that they're looking at this. Now, as far as Attorney General Greg Paxton is concerned, this is what he put out today, I believe, right? August 5th. So today, he's going to seek judicial orders declaring that runaway Democrats who fail to appear by the Speaker's deadline, Friday, have vacated their office. The people of Texas elected lawmakers, not jet-setting runaways looking for headlines. If you don't show up to work, you get fired. This is his map declaring, or this is his statement saying that he will have them removed. This is how it should be. Now, of course, He'll go to a conservative judge. The conservative judge will give him the okay. And what do you think Democrats are going to do? They're going to find a Democratic judge in El Paso, probably. And that Democratic judge is going to say, you can't do that. And they're going to fight this out in court. You know what? Let them fight out in court. And in the meantime, remove them their seats, right? Remove them their seats and do what you need to do. I'm tired of having these petulant children that want to do nothing but mutilate children, abort children, destroy the lives of people by making, the rest of our lives have to submit to the will of a minority and to an objective and to an agenda that is anti-God to deal with it. Why should we give these people the same kind of consideration? I know this is not how people are supposed to talk, but these people hate your freedom. And I'm not meaning like, freedom fries and all that other. They hate the fact that you go to church. They hate the fact that you want to have kids. They hate the fact that you want to raise a family. They hate the fact that you want to own property. And the crazy thing is, these small state representatives think they're all Mao, and they think that they will be above it. The only people that will be above any kind of communist takeover are the people at the very, very top. But everybody in politics thinks they're at the very, very top. So it is absolutely, I'm glad to see at least Republicans are not lying down on this one, right? They're not lying down like a bunch of silly, foolish dogs to just get absolutely ripped apart because it's just stupid. Like, they run away. You shouldn't be able to. I really think now. Let me ask you this, chat and people watching. The idea is this: something needs to be done where you don't have to have a quorum, or not a 2/3 quorum, maybe 50, maybe 51 representatives. Now, of course, if Democrats ever get a hold of it, that could be terrible. But the idea is this 2/3 thing needs to be eliminated. If Democrats are going to abuse it, then get rid of it. Then just get rid of it. Let me know what you think about that. If they're going to abuse it, then they need to get rid of the idea of a quorum. It's that simple. I don't believe in the quorum if it's going to be used. It's used to save democracy. It's not saving democracy. It's not saving democracy at this point. So that's your first update there. At least there's some movement. Now, does this mean anything's going to happen? Probably not. It's probably going to get tied down in courts, but at least the Republican Party at this point, and I have to say this, at this point is at least trying to give an effort. They're doing something instead of just saying, well, I guess we can't do anything, so sorry, guys, and move on. All right. RickCast, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Hello to everybody on Rumble, Getter, YouTube. I know we lost our Twitch streamer when I moved over to Restream. I gotta get at Twitch back up and running so we can reestablish our Twitch outpost. Oh my goodness. So, all right, let's move on to our next story of the night, ladies and gentlemen. From CNN.com, Coast Guard report identifies as the causes of Titan submersible deadly implosion. Since we don't read on this show, let's just watch a video.
This US Coast Guard report, do you think it's a fair assessment of what it appears to be a disaster waiting to happen?
Well, first of all, it's over 300 pages. It just came out a few hours ago, right? So I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing. I just kind of reviewed it as quickly as I could. I had 2 or 3 thoughts as I was reading through it. The first thought was obviously for the 4 families that lost 5 loved ones. Hopefully this report gives them some sense of closure, or at least helps them get to the next stage of mourning for them. The second thought I had, especially reading some of the sections, was something I've been suffering from for the last 2 years, is a bit of survivor's guilt. Thinking maybe if I'd stayed at the company and was there, maybe I could have done something to help change the outcome and kind of change the trajectory that it was on. But the third thing I thought about as I got deeper into the report, again, very high level, is the huge task that this investigation board took on in taking on such a huge, not just a huge investigation, but something that's very unknown, right? This is the first sub-accident in decades. And so there were so many complexities to this. And I think the investigators did a great job. But there's also a lot of gaps in the report, even things in the sections that I looked at. So, I hope that we'll get more answers than questions after this. But in reality, with accidents like this, we always end up with gaps going forward.
Yeah, there's a gap joke in here that I don't want to make because it's in bad taste. But this idea that, we have a report on what happened with the submersible. The submersible was put together with duct tape and super glue. Of course it was going to happen. The reason why, excuse me, there it is. The reason why, classy. The reason why this guy did it the way he did it is because he skirted around typical safety protocol that you have in building subs. If you watch any of the Ocean Gate documentaries, he was inviting this type of design because he thought he could outsmart decades and decades and decades of design. The thing with like submarines and boats and planes and our modes of transportation, they've been around for over 100 years. The design is at peak efficiency. You're not going to be like, well, I have carbon fiber. Okay. What does that mean? The U.S., if carbon fiber was a superior product, the U.S. Navy and people would have used it. But the fact he wasn't using it, it is what it is. All right. That's just an update on that. Last story before we get into our silly thing. I'm trying to delete stuff and it just deletes everything. And that's just ridiculous. Let's see. Last story we have before we get to our real first story of the night. Luckily for you guys, I am a genius and amazing, so I can get that fixed. Here it is, the resurrection of the Christ. What do you notice right off the top? What do you notice right off the top with this Lionsgate's announcement of the because remember, Lionsgate now is picking up the distribution because Mel Gibson he pretty much did the heavy lifting the first time, but he's picked up Lionsgate this time to help him with the distribution. Part 1 on Good Friday, and then part 2 on the Ascension. That means you might get 6 hours of this. And there's 2 parts to it, which is pretty crazy. I ain't going to lie. I didn't expect that. Now, the question is, what is he using to get after this? I'm not going to lie. I hope. I said this when we talked about the original announcement, the official resurrection of the Christ. I worry about the whole thing just because there's an immense amount of pressure on him and everybody involved. And I feel like instead of cutting it down to make it a streamlined, well-told story, they're going to try and just shove everything in and break it up into 2 parts. Now, I am a nobody. I'm a nobody. And Mel Gibson is an he's an award-winning actor and a complimented and nominated director. So he knows what he's doing. And obviously he has enough goodwill from us as possible from The Passion. But this is something that I'm not worried about. I'm not saying to worry about it. I just find it very interesting that they've decided to break it up into 2. And I'm not making a comparison. The last time I saw something like this. Was the Matrix Part 2 and then Matrix Resurrection and then Revolution, whatever, the second and third of the original Matrix trilogy. So it is what it is. Yeah, I get it, Michael. So it's going to be interesting to see what is allowed in, what is not, because remember, Mel he wasn't under the amount of pressure that he'll be under this time, because he was just making it on his own. He could just do whatever he wanted. It's going to be interesting now with everybody, with the scope of Catholic Inc. didn't exist back in the day. Now, do I think Catholic Inc. is going to go after Mel? No, I don't think so. But there's going to be an immense pressure to cover this and to, give everybody's 2 cents in that regard. So, interesting enough. So he's breaking it up into 2 films, part 1 and part 2. So The Passion of the Resurrection, part 1, which will be dropped on Good Friday, which is interesting. And then part 2, which will be dropped on the day of the Ascension, which is May 6th, a couple months late, 2 months later. So, yeah, now he's got 2 years to finish filming it, and then they got to go into post-production, wrap it up, and then reshoots if it doesn't test well. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. Just like for comparison, the Lord of the Rings trilogy that did all 3, that was like 400 plus days of shooting, just shooting the film, and then additional post-production, editing, and so forth. So it is what it is. So we'll take a look. We'll see. We shall see what happens in that regard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Continue to help the show grow. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this evening. And let us get to our first story of the night, which, liberals can tell you, I told you so, right? They can hit you with the I told you so, because they can. And it's not great. It is not a great thing to see something like this really kind of get laid down. And of course, did I lose it? No, did I? Somehow I deleted it. Where are you? So Trump went on CNBC this morning and he made a statement that a lot of people are not going to like. Take a listen.
Back to their country with a pass back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody. These people that you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very special people. Okay, go ahead.
No, okay.
Yeah, this is a loss. This is an L. And I'm not going to be one of these people that is just going to say, Trump's the best president of my lifetime. And blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I'm not here. If I don't get 1,000, 2,000, 100,000 views because I don't bootlick Trump, I'd rather do that than be somebody that has no principles. And I even hate to say it like that, but this is a bad look from Trump. He was elected on getting rid of illegal and undocumented people from the U.S. That was the big thing. That was the thing. Right? We're going to deport. We're going to do mass deportations. We're going to get rid of the people that are not here legally, And we're going to, give opportunities to people that don't have them and yada, yada, yada. And now he's like, yeah, you know what? Forget you. Forget you. I'm not running for president again. I don't care. So the undocumented workers, they're naturally suited for the jobs. You know what he sounds like? He sounds like Elizabeth Warren. He sounds like Elizabeth Warren. He sounds like any liberal. And he's spitting in the face of all these people that came out and voted for him because they wanted to have an opportunity. Oh, people don't want to work. Yeah, that's because farmers don't pay, even though farmers are subsidized. Now, farming is not the profitable angle that it used to be, right? I get that. But at the same time, you got to give these people an issue. I agree, Dean. I think in a couple of years, maybe that's why Trump is not pushing hard on the undocumented workers. Let's play devil's advocate here. Maybe he's doing that, Dean. Maybe he's being told by people like, listen, we got robotics that by the time you leave office by 2027, the people that are working those jobs now, we won't need them because we have robotics that'll do all of it. So there's no need to waste your energy on getting rid of them and pursuing them and deporting them, because they'll self-deport as soon as there's no jobs for them, right? That's one of those, it's in the genes. Michael, that's right. He might as well be from the antebellum South. They're just so good at it. They love it. They can't get a bad back because they die. Your name is Toby. It must be in the genes. That's right. It is. That's yeah, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So it's crazy. Maybe it is the fact that inside the White House, they're saying we don't want to waste the energy on them, because when we drop the robots on it, the robots will be doing it and they'll just leave because there'll be no reason for them to be here and we won't give them. Maybe that's me just being an optimist or trying to see both sides of the story. But at the same time, this is bad optics for the Trump administration. You've got Tom Holman, you've got Miller, Stephen Miller, I think his name is, all talking about we need mass deportations. We need mass deportations. We need mass deportations. And then at the same time, you have Trump being like, yeah, but do we? They're like saying, we need mass deportations. He's like, I don't know, maybe. Sure. And of course, some people will note correctly that Trump, when he talks about farm labor and all these other kinds of things, he's also making a slight pass or making a statement about hotels, right? It's funny that it's always like farm workers and hotel workers. And we all go, oh, that's right. You have hotel chain. And that's one of those things. Yeah, that's the thing, that it's only 2025. I know 1 day in Trump land feels like 10 years. But the fact of the matter is, he's losing enough support through the Epstein thing, through the Iran thing, through stuff like this. And here's what I'm saying. It might not be one group that hates all of that. You may have a percentage of people here that were not happy with the Iran thing. You have a percentage of people here that don't like the fact that the Epstein list has kind of become a joke to this administration. And then you'll have a group of people here that will say, I voted for him to get rid of all the illegals, and then he gave the farm workers an opportunity while I can't find a friggin' job. And he used the exact same excuses that the left did. Well, the people in the inner cities don't want to do it. Have you asked them? We've tried. You asked like 4 people. But we don't know. This might be all for naught, because robots might come in and just do the work anyway. But overall, not a great look for Trump. And it's for a guy that's supposed to be media savvy, and for a guy that is supposed to be able to read a room the way Trump does, he's not reading the room well on this stuff. And it's frustrating to people that have voted for him and supported him. And it gives cause to people, and say whatever you will about him, but gives cause to people like Nick Fuentes, when Nick Fuentes tells people to stop, voting MAGA and turn your back on that kind of stuff. Because what has he done? He's done some stuff, yeah, sure. But what has he done long term that you are happy about? Right? It's just crazy. And people remember it. People remember it. And it does make people mad, because it feels like it feels like the American people are being sold out again. And we all backed Trump. We all went to the hill for Trump because he told us that he wasn't going to sell us out. Now, I will throw this in, that you shouldn't really believe a politician when they speak. And Trump, by this point, he's been doing it for 10 years. He's a politician. I know we all don't like to think of him as one, but he is. And the fact of the matter is, it's my whole thing. It's just bad optics. It's just bad optics, and it's an unforced error. That's really the worst part. Yeah, I agree. You and Dean, we've been talking about on the show that if things, and I know Michael will agree with you, that if the indicators don't get better, that's really the only way out for him. So we'll see. He's almost, I think he's 80, right? He's 80 years old at this point. He's got 3 years left. We made the joke that he went from funny one-liner Trump to boomer Trump. He writes out like 5-page paragraphs on Truth Social, and people have to like parse through it to figure out what he's talking about. But it is what it is in that regard. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next story of the night here on RickCast. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, notification bell, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, these times you're right. He has become wishy-washy. He has, and he's fallen into the thing that a lot of second term, we forget that he actually served a term before because it didn't do it concurrently, but he is in the second term. So he's kind of like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't have to run for president again. I'm going to pardon myself for all my stuff on the way out. So nobody's going to do anything to me or my kids. So I'm just going to pardon myself. So, we'll do what we can and figure out the rest. So it is not a great look, and it's kind of disappointing. But you're right. It does feel like he's just become very non-serious. He's walking around the White House roof this morning talking about doing stuff. I'm going to build a ballroom in the White House. Nobody cares about what you're going to do to the White House. I know you had, the shills and the little girls go out because all the boys are a bunch of simps. You had all the little blondes go out and be like, this is why you need a ballroom in the White House. I don't care. I don't care. I'm 44 years old. Get away from me. Right? Just leave. I'm an old man. Just leave me alone. I'm going to go yell at some clouds talking to me, whatever. You're 21 years old. You don't even know what the hell you're doing. T-Pusa girls. Ugh, can't stand them. They're the worst. They're the worst. But let me move on. All right, next story up, ladies and gentlemen. Could this be COVID Part 2? I don't think it's going to be COVID Part 2, but there we go. From the BBC, the Chikungunya, it sounds like it sounds like something that'll make you sick at a bad Chinese restaurant. I don't know what it sounds like, but I have a news story, so here we go.
China is facing an outbreak of Chikungunya, a virus spread by mosquitoes.
All right, everybody get that? Everybody, hold on. Everybody got that? Chikungunya. Let's all say it together. Chikungunya. This is the new virus. Chikungunya. I'm going to forget it in about 5 minutes, so somebody remember this. It's the Chikungunya. It's the Chikungunya virus, chicken chow mein, I don't know, whatever.
China is facing an outbreak of Chikungunya, a virus spread by mosquitoes that can sometimes be deadly. There is no vaccine, and the World Health Organization is sounding the alarm. How serious is the threat? Another round.
And then they're like, yeah, by the way, let's talk about other stuff. So that's the Chikungunya virus. And there's apparently people are starting to make a big deal out of this. I don't know. It's not even Trump. There's enough governors around that, yeah, maybe California, Rhode Island, these places will lock down. I don't see a nationwide lockdown ever happening again. I just don't. So it's interesting that after COVID, anytime, and it seems like there's always some kind of virus popping out of China every couple weeks about a bat or some kind of mosquito or like a snake. I'm a snake, and or whatever that's coming out to kill people. So it is what it is. Yeah, Da Nang fever. Yeah, dude, India's no. I would no. My brother-in-law had to go to India for a while where they were setting up a call center. The horror stories he talked about, man, just no thank you. We've talked about India enough on this show and how we are not big fans of the caste system in India. So sorry about that. Chikungunya with a side of drop soup. Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, I'm like, Dean, I could not see the people of Oklahoma locking down again. Like, I couldn't see the people of Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, definitely, as long as DeSantis and DeSantis culture is around. Abbott, because he since he didn't get into the White House, I guess he'll run for, or put his hat in the ring for president in 2028. So he's gotta kind of make it look right. So I don't know. Let's see what the BBC is gonna try and fear monger. More than 7,000 cases of a mosquito-borne virus have been reported across China. Let's also be real. Lou, you got exactly to what I was saying. I don't believe anything that the Chinese are reporting. Oh, yes, we have 7,000 new Chikungunya virus. There's a gazillion people in your country. 7,000 is not even a rounding error. So why are you freaking out about it? That, like, 7,000 in these United States is a rounding error. There's 330 million people. You're going to freak out about 7,000? It's just absolutely, it's crazy that, there's 7,000 cases. There's 4 bazillion people in China. Do we really care there's 7? Did all 7,000 of them die? But did you die? Like, that's really the question. Prompting measures similar to those taken during COVID. Great. You guys can lock down and do whatever the hell you want over there. I ain't dealing with this, and even if they try to lock us down again, which I do not think they will, I ain't going along with it, man. I ain't wearing no mask. I ain't getting no jab. You heard it here first on this show. I ain't getting no mask. I ain't getting no jab. You can all go pound sand. In Fushan City, which has been hit the hardest, the chikungunya with a side of rice. Patients must stay in hospital. It literally says must stay in hospital. You can't put I thought this was like English. Where their beds will y'all reading this, right? Where their beds will protected with mosquito nets. Did AI write this thing? Am I going retarded? Is this not where, or do I have to say this in a Chinese? Where their beds will protect with mosquito net. They only can be discharged after they test negative or at end of week-long stay. Literally, read that. You read it at home. This is like somebody said this in Chinese, in like Chinese accent, and then they didn't like text to type. Right? In Foshan City, where have been hit hardest, chikungunya patient must stay in hospital. Where is the word? Or did I block it? Nope, it's not there. In hospital. So I just sound like a moron when I already do. So that's it. Spread through the bite of an infected mosquito. The virus causes fever and severe joint pain, which can sometimes last for years. Although rare in China, chikungunya outbreaks are common in South and Southeast Asia and parts of Africa. Then what do we care? Why are we even talking about this? Why is this a trending thing on Google? Because people have been so scared after COVID. There's half of the population. I think Michael or somebody said it already. Half of the population, as soon as somebody sneezes, they're like, let's go into lockdown. Lockdown right now. Stay home 2 weeks. No, I'm not staying home for 2 weeks because somebody had the flu. Okay? I was a teacher for 10 years. My immune system is almost rock solid bulletproof. It's funny. Teachers used to brag about their immunity, and then COVID hit, and they're like, I got to work from home. Sorry. My bad. people think that's, oh, Rick, you were that was so insensitive. I'm just reading it. Like, this thing is not written for people who speak the English language, or at least American English. Anyway, how widespread are the infections? Aside from Foshan, at least 12 other cities in the southeastern Guangdong province have reported infections. Nearly 3,000 cases were reported in the last week. Okay, there's 6 gazillion people in China, and we're freaking out about 3,000. On Monday, Hong Kong reported its first case, a 12-year-old boy who developed fever, rash, and joint pain after he visited. Then don't go to Foshan. You people are we're supposed to be worried about the Chinese taking over the world. They can't even figure out, like, hey, don't go to the place that has a rash of infections. Like, if there's an outbreak of something in Chicago, you think I'm going to go there? Yeah, but China's going to take over the world. They can't even figure out, don't go to a place where there's a virus. The virus is not contagious and only spreads when an infected person is bitten by a mosquito and then goes to bite another. We like to call this the Jurassic Park stages of infection, right? When you bite a dinosaur and you take all the blood out of the dinosaur and then you get taken and then now you make a dinosaur. That's pretty much what's going on here. The Jurassic Park mode of infection. Officials say that all reported cases have been mild, with 95% of patients discharged. Then why? COVID's coming out of China. Get out of here. Stupid. It's scary. Prolonged consequences sound very painful, one user wrote on Sweeney. Yeah, no, Weibo or Wabu or whatever. It's all Chinese propaganda. It's all, oh, it sounds really bad. I wouldn't want this to happen if I was you, United States. Get out of here. Whatever, dude. Stupid. By the way, BBC, negative points to you guys for your inability to write a decent article. Got me sounding like I'm all right. I'm already dumb enough as it is. I don't need your help to make me sound even dumber. All right, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. I wouldn't worry. I don't think this is a Templar thing. This is like the second biggest trending story on Google Trends. Hence why we're talking about it today. Are we going to be talking about it in September and October? Probably not, because people are going to go, oh, this happens often. And yeah, people get over it and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Move on. It is, Miss Amanda. It is. All right, let's move on to the last story. I should always, why can't I get jobs? Oh, yeah, when people look at my podcast and they're like, wow, you are really a jerk. Yeah. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the last story of the day here on RickCast. Don't forget, subscribe to the program. All righty, let's see. What are we talking about on the last one? So, I got to apologize. Not that anybody cares. I have to apologize to, I guess we'll say Sydney Sweeney, because I said she's going to fold like a cheap suit. She is, she's going to have to apologize and curb stomp MAGA because Trump said he likes her and MAGA is embracing her and she was outed as a Republican and all these other kinds of things. And I said yesterday, she has to come out and she has to deny it. She has to destroy MAGA, because if she doesn't, she's not going to get any work again. Well, she didn't yesterday, and she still hasn't. And maybe she's got a strong enough, maybe the money from American Eagle is too good, A, and B, maybe her publicist is like, just wait it out. People will be pissed about something else. Or maybe they're taking a look at this polling and they're realizing that what's happening on X or on TikTok is not representative of the general public. So from Breitbart.com, poll, majority of U.S. adults call Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad appropriate amid woke meltdown. Also, it's kind of funny that Levi's put out an ad with Beyonce, which is almost a joke. It looks terrible. And it just shows that Levi's didn't get the message. That's right. I am your jerk, Lou. Don't forget that. Always and forever. Heart hands. So I don't know. Let's see. The controversy surround over American Eagle ad campaign featuring Sydney Sweeney has left critics apoplectic with rage, but a poll reveals one group stands with her. Sweeney and American Eagle have been targeted after she appeared in the campaign, had great genes. We already know all about this. So a YouGov poll, which is very interesting, on August 1st, surveyed 3,509 U.S. adults about the appropriateness of the wordplay in the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney ad. The overall sample. Listen, if you're Sydney Sweeney's agent, if you're American Eagle, if you're any of these people and you're looking, this is a YouGov poll, which is pretty much an online poll. Do people think it's it? 52? It's fine, because most people are not stupid. They see good jeans and then she's wearing blue jeans and they're like, oh, that's kind of funny. Unlike, the problem was white woman TikTok melted down because they've been told for 10 plus years that you can be fat, ugly, and unattractive, and that's fine just the way you are. Now, listen, if you want to be fat, ugly, and unattractive, I mean, look at me. You can be, but that you can't tell other people that that's the beauty standard they must accept. I'll say that again. If you want to be fat, ugly with a septum ring and 5 different colors of hair and whatever, listen, do you have a great time, enjoy life, but you cannot force other people to accept that as the standard of beauty across cultures. Cultures naturally. It's funny. The reason why like Rose Tico and China, as much as we make fun of them, the reason why a bunch of movies didn't do well, they actually would come out and they're like, why are there so many ugly people in American movies? They're like, we don't like ugly people in our films. Most people, every culture has a standard of beauty. It may not be the same, but there is a standard and you can't change it. And the fact of the matter is, nobody cares if you want to act a certain way and if you want to tat yourself up, but you can't tell everybody else that this is the beauty standard. You must accept this beauty standard. No, I don't. I don't have to. I mean, I already hit the jackpot, right? I married a beautiful Latina woman. So, by the way, we all know the white boys and the Latinas, it's a natural combination. But the fact of the matter is here, people don't care. They don't think that Sydney Sweeney is the new is this actress who is fairly average as an actress. She's not even really that good if you've seen her. She's very mid as far as she's not winning any Academy Awards anytime soon. But she's a girl next door type of looking girl, and most people are like, yes, I like to see attractive people in ads. It's been that way forever. Now, we talked about it when it first came up about going into lust and all this other kind of stuff. That's a conversation we've already had about that. But I know I've said the fact of the matter 15,000 times, so let me use a different word. But what we have here is a repudiation of the TikTok mob, which is probably the most refreshing thing if you're going to look at it from our point of view here. The most refreshing thing we can see is that we have a repudiation of the cancel culture mob, right? That's what we're looking at. 5 years ago, 3 years ago, everybody would have been apologizing for this. But the fact that they're not, the fact that they're doubling down, the fact that they're standing strong, most people, and this is that, I guess people would say the silent majority. There's always been that, well, there's a silent majority. That's your silent majority right there in that poll. 52% of people are like, yeah, it's fine. I might not go buy the jeans, but it's a Rickism. Fact of the matter is, but 52% of people, over a majority of percentage of the people say, yeah, I don't care. Whatever, dude. It's a funny wordplay. It's fine. It doesn't offend me. I don't like blue jeans. Actually, by the way, I don't like blue jeans. As Rick Barrett doesn't wear blue jeans. I don't wear blue jeans, and I don't like formal shorts. So really, what do I wear? I just wear golf pants. I just wear golf pants every day. Especially here in the summer in Texas, because they're light and they're formal. Now, yes, if you catch me out at the local grocery store, sometimes you'll find me in athletic shorts. But if I'm going out to an event, I will wear dress pants or just like golf pants. That's really my attire. Golf pants and a quarter zip up. That's my outfit in life now. But I don't like shorts on dudes. Not that I'm gay, but I think they don't look, I don't think it's appropriate. And I don't think blue jeans, unless you are like a worker in a steel mill or you're out in the farm, like blue jeans do have a purpose. They're work jeans, right? Because they're doing, like, if you're riding a motorcycle or you're working in a mill or you're working at a garage or out in a farm or something where you want some actual like tough fabric so your jeans don't get cut up, which is always weird, right? When people pay like $90 for holes in jeans, we have it too good. But the fact of the matter is, I said it. Drink. What we have is the repudiation of the online mob. And I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to this story. Not the fact that it's a white girl. I think it was really a test of how well a corporation, and I don't care who runs it, and there's a certain group of people run this company, whatever, dude, it happens. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But it was a test to see if cancel culture really has been eliminated from our society. A lot of people were bragging about it. Oh, we got rid of cancel culture, yada, yada, yada. But it looks like this was the litmus test in Trump's America, right? During Trump's, his tenure, his second administration. Will companies stand up to the obvious temper tantrums of a minority group of people who have been catered to for the last 10 years? And it looks like we're seeing that benefit. We're seeing that take place right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me here on RickCast. Do me a favor on the way out the door. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, hit that notification button, hit all the buttons. Just hit them. Beep, 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 beep. Helps the show grow. I will talk to you all tomorrow night. That'll be Wednesday, the 6th of August, 2025, episode 163. God bless. And until that day comes, ladies and gentlemen, free Dexter Taylor.